They said it was just about a lavender plant. But when the boots hit the tile floor at 2 a.m., I knew this wasn't a violation notice, it was a full-scale tactical siege. And my wife, she used to dismantle insurgent nests with nothing but a rifle and grit. The HOA had no idea who they just provoked. The moment I heard those heavy boots click against my tile floor, I knew our quiet night had turned into something far more dangerous than a routine HOA dispute. We'd only been in our new home a week when the first notice of violation slipped under our door. Bold black letters declaring HOA Regulation 8.4 unauthorized plant display for a single lavender plant in a weathered terracotta pot. I laughed it off. They're allergic to purple. I teased my wife, Claire, a former Army Ranger turned Green Beret sniper. Our son, Noah, barely glanced up from his video game. So long as Wi-Fi and snacks held out, his world was perfect. 2 days later, a second notice appeared, stapled to our gate with a grainy nighttime photo of that same lavender. Claire taped it to the fridge like a battlefield dispatch. "They're watching," she murmured. I still thought it was absurd until Linda, the neighborhood compliance officer in a khaki polo and mirror lens shades, showed up unannounced. Clipboard in hand, she announced, "We're here to enforce final compliance." Claire shot back, "Let me know when the board sends someone taller than your clipboard." Linda only narrowed her eyes and stalked off. That night, Claire held our first defense drill. Noah donned a bike helmet and wielded a garden rake. "This is ridiculous," he groaned. Claire passed him a foam noodle. "Disarm the perimeter. Roll, sweep, clear." His protests faded when she demonstrated a textbook low crawl under the hedges. "This isn't a war zone," he said. "Neither was Fallujah," Claire replied, her voice steady as her gaze. 3 more warning letters, a steep fine, and a bright red final review sticker slapped on our front door, and suddenly our backyard felt like a live fire range. Then came the silence. The dogs stopped barking. Street lights flickered out, hallway lamps dimmed. And I heard it again. 3 pairs of boots, slow and deliberate, striding across the lawn. They didn't knock. They didn't ask. They simply lined up at the door like referees calling the start of a fight. I crouched behind the curtain alongside Claire, Noah recording every second on his phone, and watched as 3 men in tactical vests and unmarked badges fanned out across our porch. The lead one boomed, "You are in violation of HOA Rule 8.4.4. We'll begin final eviction proceedings." Claire stepped forward, arms loose at her sides, eyes locked on theirs. "Final proceedings?" she echoed. That's a big phrase for someone wearing knockoff Oakleys. The first man blinked. The second checked the base of the door. The third swept his gaze over my flower beds. "Watch his hands," Claire whispered. Then the sprinklers erupted, but instead of water, fine white chalk shot skyward, blinding our intruders. Claire moved like a shadow, disarming the nearest man and zipping his hands behind his back in one swift motion. 2 more steps, 2 more zip ties. The last man dropped his radio, choking on chalk dust. Noah gasped, "Mom, we hadn't just repelled an HOA squad. We'd been reconned, probed, and tested." And with 3 zip-tied enforcers on our porch, Claire's only reaction was to study their gear like battlefield loot. At 2 a.m., those boots returned for a second pass. And when they did, they'd learn exactly whom they dared to challenge. After the chalk fell and the dust settled, our cul-de-sac awoke to hushed whispers. Flyers appeared overnight. Emergency drill completed. Thanks for your calm. All citing an authorized HOA safety exercise. Our neighbors exchanged uneasy glances as my phone buzzed with cryptic texts. Sanctioned. Cover up. Watch yourselves. Claire and I dove into investigation mode. She hacked our HOA portal, exposing shell company invoices for private security patrols and surveillance upgrades. We uncovered a 3-count pattern. Unmarked drones mapping yards, bogus citations for visual inconsistency, and black ops-style eviction readiness plans. Each folder she opened revealed more rapid response events. Civilian homes targeted under the guise of community harmony. You see this ledger? Claire leaned over the laptop. They've diverted dues to Sentinel Ridge Defense. It doesn't exist. On the dining room table, I spread out stapled stacks of board meeting minutes, all signed by President Linda Crossman. Every motion referenced new enforcement authorities with zero oversight. By dawn, we'd set up our own counter-surveillance. Motion sensors on the porch, covert cameras in the garden gnomes, and a hardened Wi-Fi mesh layer to mask our online activity. Noah taped his toy drone's camera inside our front yard bird bath. This thing actually works, he grinned. That evening, a boombox-style speaker blared Karen's pre-recorded statement down the block. A scheduled HOA exercise ensured community safety. While 4 men in black tactical gear staked out our neighbors' driveways, Claire watched from the window, binoculars trained. They're staging a show of force, she said. No actual authority, just intimidation. I posted raw, unedited footage online. Chalk clouds, zip-tied vests. Their own uniform stamped HOA tactical unit. It racked up views as outraged comments poured in. Local reporters sniffed a story. Neighborhood support shifted our way. But by night's end, digital burners flooded forums with fake rumors. They attacked first. It was drug dealers. HOA saved us. Claire, ever methodical, mapped it all on our garage door whiteboard. 1 unauthorized plant probe. 2 tactical harassment siege test. 3 info leak narrative warfare. 4 next phase likely forced compliance. Our yard became a mini fortress. Sandbags in the porch flower bed, tamper-proof locks, and a weatherproof cabinet full of tactical gear. Claire nicknamed our operation project Lavender Shield. On the 4th night, headlights strobed across our windows, 6 SUVs. No plates, triangular formation, floodlights igniting the lawn. A deep boom from hidden speakers cracked the quiet. Submit or evict. Claire strapped on her vest. I armed the garden hose rig. Noah, transformed from gamer kid to lookout, stood ready, clutching his enlarged foam noodle. They advanced at 2:37 a.m., not running, just marching, narrowing us into our own home. Claire flicked a switch, unleashing fine mesh chalk into their path while I triggered the sprinklers. As our defenders whirred to life, I realized this silent siege was far from over. Phase 2 was upon us, and it would demand everything we had. The SUV's floodlights vanished at first light, but the threat lingered. A fresh round of glossy mailers arrived. HOA emergency protocol complete. We thank you for your cooperation. Stamped with Linda Crossman's signature. Our neighbors now avoided our glance. Some even crossed the street to do chores rather than meet our eyes. Claire refused to back down. She converted our barn loft into a command center, 6-screen surveillance array, encrypted comms, and maps of every driveway in our subdivision. Noah pinned schematic after schematic, sprinkler jet patterns, turbine choke points, fallback rally locations. He'd grown from skeptical tween to tactical spotter. We drafted Operation Homefront, identify sympathizers, expose HOA cover-ups, and prepare public live streams of any reinforcement attempt. Our social feed exploded when we released footage of a Black Ops drone hovering above our yard, its operator silhouetted against moonlight. Comments ranged from, "This is insane," to, "I'm moving next door." Then came the final notice. Eviction orders executed at 0600 hours. Property seized for code violations. It arrived as a text alert on every neighbor's phone, complete with a geofence link. They claimed our land was annexed under emergency HOA decree. Linda Crossman's voiceover played on a loop. "Your family's defiance endangers us all." At 1 a.m. the night before eviction, Claire gathered us in the yard. "This ends tomorrow," she said, checking her rifles. "0. They'll come for the house, but first they'll have to get through us." I felt the weight of her calm resolve as she handed Noah a pair of comms headphones. True to form, at 06, the flashbangs detonated outside our windows, and tactical boots marched up the walk. But Claire and I were ready. She triggered our sprinkler hose chalk barrage. I dropped the gabled net trap across the porch. 2 operatives went down, tangled. Noah's drone dive-bombed their command van, plucking the GPS antenna from its roof. Pandemonium erupted as neighbors poured into the street, filming on phones. "Stop! You have no warrant!" I shouted, brandishing Linda Crossman's own eviction notice. Proof it was a hoax. Claire stepped forward, rifle slung, voice calm. "This neighborhood belongs to its residents." By sunrise, the HOA's tactical units scurried away, trailing chalk and legal threats. Linda Crossman's digital channels blew up with leaked audit reports showing embezzlement of HOA funds into her private accounts. The county prosecutor launched an inquiry. Local news crews swarmed our cul-de-sac. And at 2 a.m., when those boots finally returned, they discovered that threatening a Green Beret sniper family wasn't just a bad plan, it was their last. So when the final boots stepped off our porch, trailing chalk and legal threats, the message was loud and clear. Don't ever mistake a family's peace for weakness, especially not when that family includes a Green Beret sniper. If you're new here, subscribe for more gripping real-world fiction like this. We've only just begun.